Direct News TV. June 13, 2024. Lives at play, Argentina Senate passes Milei reforms as protests rage. Argentina's upper house has narrowly passed a controversial bill key to Libertarian President Javier Milei's economic reform plans as thousands of protesters clashed with police in the streets. Senators voted 37 to 36 late on Wednesday to give provisional approval to the plan, embarking on an all-night marathon sitting, extending into the following day ahead of votes on each article of the package, which includes radical measures on privatization and tax breaks for investors. The Senate had been divided down the middle over the bill, which was eventually decided by a tie-breaking vote from the head of the chamber, Vice President Victoria Villarruel. Today, there are two Argentinas, Villarruel said at the session. A violent Argentina that sets a car on fire, throws rocks and debates the exercise of democracy, and another Argentina with workers waiting with great pain and sacrifice for the change that they voted for. As the senators voted, thousands of protesters poured into the streets, burning cars and throwing Molotov cocktails as hundreds of federal security forces pushed back with rounds of tear gas and water cannon. 7 people, including 5 lawmakers, were treated at hospital after being pepper sprayed, according to the Ministry of Health. Dozens of others received medical attention at the scene. At least 10 people were arrested and 9 police officers were injured, according to a spokesman for the Ministry of Security, quoted by the AFP news agency. Anarcho-capitalist. The vote delivered a major boost to Milei, a self-declared anarcho-capitalist, whose efforts to overhaul the government and economy have run into tough resistance in Argentina's opposition-dominated Congress, which he has dubbed a nest of rats. A political outsider with just 2 years of experience as a lawmaker, his 3-year-old party, Liberty Advances, holds only 15% of seats in the lower house and 10% in the Senate. Tonight is a triumph for the Argentine people and the first step toward the recovery of our greatness, Milei posted on X, calling his bills the most ambitious legislative reform of the last 40 years. The bill is central to Milei's plans to overhaul an embattled economy. Executive measures imposed so far, which include slashing subsidies and firing thousands of public sector employees, have deepened a recession, increased poverty to 55% and sent annual inflation surging 300%. Right-wing and left-wing lawmakers clashed over various parts of the 238-article reform bill, which includes the declaration of a 1-year state of economic emergency allowing Milei to disband federal agencies and the privatization of about a dozen public companies. Other measures deal with reducing access to minimum retirement allowances and weakening labor protections, slammed by left-wing opponents as a license to fire workers. The provisions also envision tax, customs, and foreign exchange incentives to encourage investment in the country racked by economic crisis. Prior to the bill's preliminary Senate approval, opposition lawmakers took to the floor claiming it would reverse decades of progress. Opposition Senator Mariano Recalde said the labor reforms in particular take us back to the last century when the employee had no labor rights. The bill was passed by the lower house, the Chamber of Deputies, in April. If approved in a full vote by the Senate, the measure will return to the lower house for a final green light. The measure is opposed by a broad swath of society, including social organizations, left-wing political parties, retirees, teachers, and labor unions. Protesters fear the bill will leave them further exposed to rising unemployment and consumer prices. Argentine people's lives are at play, said protester and social leader Luis Delia. This poison has failed several times in Argentina, and we won't allow this to carry on. Miriam Rajovicher, a 54-year-old teacher, said if the law passed, she would lose many of her labor and pension rights. I am so much worse off, she said. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.